Oh, is this mine? Am I going to do the intro? Yeah, I'll do the intro. Oh dear. We do some work with Big Partnership. They were working with the British Transplant Games, and what they wanted was some coverage for the event. They came to us and said, this is loosely the sort of thing we've got in mind. And so they kind of wanted us to come in and suggest what we might cover and how they might be best to use video content. A lot of time with these sort of events, quick content going out on the same day is really important. You know, there's a lot of interest, a lot of hype around events like that. Whilst that traction is there, if you then launch content in the middle of that buzz, then you'll get a lot more pickup from it. And so that was kind of one of the things that we suggested, but then we also suggested, which kind of came from their side initially, some sort of legacy film. The daily content was very much North Lanarkshire, this is what's happening today, whereas the legacy content was much more sponsors.
Sponsors and locations and venues to get involved and support the Transplant Games moving forwards.
Yeah. What the daily content really did though was like it really went viral on social media, tens of thousands of views. There was a different story every day. There was like the organ donors themselves, the people who'd had transplants, there was people from donor families. So there was like a different thing to cover each day, a different kind of story, because Big had given us these specific people to interview, and we were shooting around the events that they were participating in. So really it was about people participating, and the sports kind of came after that.
You want to talk about the photographer stuff?
I wasn't really involved in the production so much, more the sort of planning stage. But in the early stages, the client had identified that they wanted photography. Actually what we needed was a sports photographer. That's a very different ball game.
It's not the same thing.
Not the same.
It's a totally different thing.
Yeah, completely different discipline to event coverage.
What's different about it, like?
It's like aviation and space exploration. They're both flying, but it's different, very different types of flying.
It's like getting a bus or taking your own car. They both get you from A to B, but they're very different. What we ended up doing is we spoke to like one of our contacts in press, get a really good photographer for the 4 days, Michael, who came and helped us out.
And he was a lovely man as well.
Yeah, like...
Had the photographer's trousers and everything.
Oh, did he? What, lots of pockets? Yeah, classic.
Baggy.
Baggy.
Yeah, Daniel kind of just managed the days, didn't you? Like, I was just like, oh... Because I was doing the shooting of it, it was just put me somewhere and tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, I think I was just kind of doing most of the sort of running about and phoning people and then shooting the interviews.
Like, how did that workflow, do you think, help the client?
It meant they had a really clear channel of communication because they had a single point of contact, so it wasn't like, oh, who's supposed to be doing this bit for us?
So I was meeting people and saying like, are you free at 1:30 for an interview, blah, 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 blah. And then I would introduce them to Stephen, who's like, hi, I'm in the content. So I was making the connection happen, introduced them to Stephen, and he was taking care of the content side of things.
We'd basically shoot from the morning until like late afternoon, and then we would get like an hour's time to disconnect, and then we would really have 2 hours to turn around and wrap up film.
We got a nice room.
Yeah, they sat us in amongst all the trophies, so it was really uplifting, and like you got a real feeling of achievement within that room, and it made you believe that you could do anything, really.
Great things happen under pressure, I think. Well, because like there's no room for error, really. We've got 2 hours. This needs to be online.
You know, like inspiration is for amateurs. Professionals just go to work, right? If you're there and you plug yourself into it, and like you're just honest and do what you can, and you have at least some soul and heart inside you, then it's just like, oh, produce it.
I mean, what's interesting about working for Big is that they're a massive marketing and PR agency, but there are occasions where projects come along like this one where for them it's beneficial to have just a bit of assistance with the scale of video content required. And they were able to bring to the table their level of experience and also their level of understanding of their own client.
The way that they handled that side of it really liberated us to just get involved.
It felt quite organic as well, because we were actually discovering the event ourselves as we were filming it.
There was also this element for me. If you really go back to the grassroots of what sport is, it's about community, it's about bringing people together, and that is really what it was like, and it was very moving and touching to be around people that had grown through these experiences together and were sharing these experiences at this event.
Overall, it was just a big celebration of life, really. It wasn't just a sporting event, and that's why it was such an amazing thing.
To be part of it, to like in some way and to document it in that way was incredible, I thought.